Hi guys, you're watching Arc Habitu, especially for young innovative minds. So today in this session we are going to discuss 15 part A questions. So they will be preferential type questions. So check it and try it yourself and then go for the solution. In today's video we are going to discuss 15 questions of part A. And we are also uploading a video for part B in which we will solve some of the reasoning questions, some maths questions, physics and chemistry questions, and also arithmetic aptitude questions. So stay tuned for the next video. Moving on to first question. Choose 3 appropriate words for the given figure in order. In order means you should preferentially select the options. So the most appropriate one should be the first option, second should be the next appropriate word, and then the last. Okay, so in this clearly we can see the proximity. Okay, and we can check one by one. Is there a contrast? Yes, there is a contrast between black and red colors, but it's not much seen in the picture throughout. Yes, the contrast varies over here, and here the contrast vanishes. So we can keep that aside. The next is proximity. Yes, the proximity as a design principle is used a lot in this figure. Is there a rhythm? We can't see any rhythm, but there is repetition, and there is no balance, but there is proportion. The proportion between the girls sitting, the boys standing, how it is proportionating with the chairs over here. Yes, there is proportion also. So the most appropriate word will be proximity or repetition. The most thing we can see here is proximity, then repetition, and then proportion. Hope you are clear about the first question. So this, try it yourself and pick out the 3 most appropriate words in order. Now we can discuss the solution. See, there is a repetition of the windows, same windows, the squares over the pattern. Okay, the squares are repeating. Okay, but the most thing we can see here is contrast. The contrast between the yellow and white color. And yes, there is no rhythm, there is emphasis, there is no symmetry, there is no direction. So the most 3 appropriate words will be there is no rhythm. Yes, so the first thing is contrast, then emphasis, and then repetition. Okay, this is a simple question. We can clearly see a rhythm in this figure. So rhythm is there. You can see any movement. There is balance, asymmetrical balance. There is no symmetry keeping in the axis. There is unity, but there is not much repetition. The curves are repeating, but it's not considered much. Okay, the most appropriate words will be first one rhythm, then balance, and then unity. Okay, This is our fifth question. We want to choose the three appropriate words. The thing we can strictly see in this figure is contrast, isn't it? The contrast between the wall and the white floor or white steps. And there is, of course, repetition, yes, throughout the figure. There is a unity, we can keep it aside, but the most thing we can see is proportion. Yes, so contrast will be first, then repetition, and then proportion. Due to proportion, we are observing the massive size of the wall and the length of the steps. Okay, figure, is it transparent? How can we check is it transparent? By looking part by part. See this region, we can see clearly many petals. Yes, this petal, through this petal we can see the other petal too, through this petal we can see this petal too. So it has a transparency in it, and there is of course unity, there is no symmetry. Awake, it is a common title for the photograph, we can keep it aside, there is no symmetry, and we can't see any proportion. Is there a movement? Yeah, slight movements, like the we can assume that there is wind and the petals are dancing, the flower is dancing. So yes, there is a slight movement in the figure. Texture has no effect in this picture. So the thing we can say is there is movement, unity and transparent. The most appropriate one will be unity, then transparent, then movement. Okay. This is our seventh question. Choose three appropriate words for the given figure in order. So the thing we can say is, yeah, it is a massive structure, but the principle used cannot be massive, but the proportion makes the figure massive. Yes, the building massive and the man so tiny. So proportion is the apt word. It's not transparent. Yes, there is a unity. There will be a symmetry if this man is not there. This guy removes all the symmetry. Okay, and there is a balance, no movement. So the thing we can say is, first one is balance, then proportion, and then unity. Okay. Do subscribe to our channel if you have not done it so far. You will get regular updates according to the Nata new syllabus or JEE BARC max questions or PCM questions for Nata. So do subscribe to our channel and do support, comment if you need any particular topic. We have already uploaded design principles, design elements, some examples regarding that, some questions regarding that, some memory based questions, and yes, some PCM and arithmetic aptitude part. You can check those going through the videos. Now this is our eighth question. We can see a position like someone is praying, but we can't say it is universal. Why? Not all the human beings in the world pray like this. So this is not universal. Yes, there is a unity. There is symmetry or not? No. We will say quickly that there is symmetry, but there is no symmetry. So we can exclude the option symmetry. We can see a massive building in this figure. No, but we can't say it as a principle used. But is there a proportion? No, there is no proportion. No movement. Yes, there is balance. So obviously we should include prayer also. So the options which are correct and most appropriate is balance, then unity, and then prayer. Okay. Now this is our ninth question. We can see throughout the repetition in the figure. Yes, repetition of these things like buttresses, flying buttresses. It's not flying buttress, but it's like that. Yes. So there is repetition. We can see much rhythm. There is no symmetry at all. Yes, there is perspective. It's 1 point perspective. And there is a proportion between this and this. Yes, there is no movement. Is there a balance? No, we can't see balance. Okay. So we are done with proportion, perspective, and repetition. The most thing is perspective, then repetition, and then proportion. Actually, this was our fourth question. I missed it. So this is Casa Mila, a famous architectural piece by the famous architect Antonio Gaudi. He's a guy who plays with texture a lot. This makes this building a scary like feeling. So yes, there is texture, but I have not included the option in that. But yes, there is texture and there is balance. There is a slight mistake in the options given. Okay, there is repetition, some repetition. There is no contrast. Yes, there is rhythm through the curvy lines, and there is no emphasis. There is no symmetry because of these backgrounds. Okay, there is no directions. So repetition and rhythm are correct. Most appropriate is rhythm, but actually we should also include balance, texture, etc. in these options, so they will be also given the priority than repetition. Okay, this is our 10th question. Yes, we can see repetition, some sort of repetition, but we can keep it aside. There is rhythm. Yes, there is of course symmetry. There is symmetry. Yes, there is perspective. No proportion, no movement. Yes, there is balance. So which will be selected? If there is balance, you should actually go with that. So balance will be the first one, then the perspective, and then symmetry or rhythm. Symmetry is the most thing we can see here. So balance, perspective, and symmetry. Okay. Mistakes come by. This is actually 11th question. Okay, we can see some variety. There is no rhythm. We should choose 4 appropriate terms. There is no rhythm. There is no symmetry because of this cage and difference in the cats. So there is no symmetry. There is yes contrast. There is proportion. There is no moment. There is balance. So balance, we should go with that. And first one will be balance, then contrast, and then variety or proportion. Proportion will be the most suitable. Okay, so balance, contrast, and proportion. This is our 12th question. If you have seen design principles, you will be clear about this picture because it shows hierarchy. It uses the design principle hierarchy, and yes, there is balance. There is no movement, proportion, symmetry, rhythm, or variety. So hierarchy and balance is the one we will go with. The best thing will be balance and then hierarchy. This is our 13th question. 3 appropriate words. Okay, we can't see any variety. There is no rhythm. There is some sort of perspective. Look here. There is some sort of perspective. There is no hierarchy. There is no proportion. Yes, there is an effect with the texture because they are reflecting all throughout the building. We can see reflections. So there is a play of texture in this figure. Yes, there is balance. So we will go for balance, then perspective, and then texture. Now this is our second last question. Walt Disney Concert Hall. Okay, we can see a variety of shapes. There is rhythm. There is no perspective. There is no hierarchy. There is no scale. Yes, there is some texture. And we are not sure about balance. So we will go with first rhythm, then texture, and then variety. Okay. Now this is a question to discuss. You can comment as many terms familiar with you to describe this picture. So I will say balance. You can say anything you wish to say. Okay, in the comment box I will leave a discussion forum and you can fill it with your own ways of describing this picture through appropriate terms. Okay, so that's all with the session. Thank you guys for watching. Do subscribe, share, and comment.